Hello, this is Chris Kobe with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you are watching the Video Voters Guide or listening to our podcast. With the technical support of Metro East Community Media, we are here today to talk with candidates running in the May 17, 2022 primary election. We are grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, the League of Women Voters of Portland Education Fund, the Weiss Foundation, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. With me is Nicole Morrisey O'Donnell, running for Multnomah County Sheriff. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here and I appreciate your time today.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for sheriff.
Absolutely. So I'm a native Oregonian. I grew up in a small town in Clatskanie, Oregon. And then when I moved to Portland, I moved here to attend University of Portland. And I actually started university as a music major. So that always seems like a really great transition into public safety. But I really knew that I wanted to do something more for my community. And so I started working for the sheriff's office over 25 years ago. So I currently today serve in the role as undersheriff, which is second in command. And in 2019, I was unanimously appointed by the county commission to be Sheriff Mike Reese's interim designee. So what that entails in the second in command position is that currently day-to-day operations, I oversee the law enforcement division and business services division, which is a $171 million budget and approximately 800 personnel. And then I oversee the entire organization when the sheriff is away. Prior to my undersheriff role, I held the role as the law enforcement chief deputy. So I led the law enforcement division, and that's patrol operations, river patrol, investigations, and search and rescue, to name a few of our operations. And what's unique about me is that not only do I hold a correction certification, but I've already obtained the police officer certification, the law enforcement certification, which is required within 1 year of taking office. And that's a 4-month process initially of attending the police academy in Salem full-time, as well as a 3 to 4 month process of being in a police car with a coach taking 911 calls to really learn the job. So, you know, as I look at where we're at as a community, and I live and work in this community, and I have for a number of years, and it's concerning when I talk to people that they don't feel safe in our community. And I'm running to change that. We have unprecedented gun violence and record numbers of people living on our streets who are experiencing, many of them, mental health and addiction challenges. So I'm proud that my leadership style is very community driven, and I leverage our public safety partners as well as our community-based resources to really gain those results. And I have a proven track record to lead this agency on day one by earning some of the support from and the confidence of 2 local governors, electeds on the state and local level, community leaders that I've already been partnering with, not just since this campaign, but really to better our public safety services in collaboration with our community partners. And then the current sheriffs of our Tri-County area, including Sheriff Mike Reese, Sheriff Pat Garrett, and Sheriff Angela Brandenburg. I feel that these partnerships are absolutely critical, public safety and community-based, in addressing the issues that we're facing in our community head on. I would be the first female sheriff in the history of the organization, and I'm ready to step into this job on day one.
What measures would you recommend to ensure prisoners' health and safety, including those with mental health or addiction issues?
So, you know, as we're looking at our facilities, the health and well-being of adults in custody is absolutely a top priority. As I was reading recently, Oregon is second in need for those experiencing mental health and addiction challenges, yet we're nearly last in available services and accessible services to help facilitate that treatment. And as a result, as we look across our systems, many systems are failing our community. So our jails are, there are more and more people in our jail facilities that are experiencing mental health and addiction challenges. And, you know, we must do better. And I know that what we're doing in our facilities today, I will continue to advocate for those critical services and resources, and really also partner with our community members and community-based providers to get real results. So as I look at moving into the sheriff role as sheriff, I will ensure that I have those positive and productive relationships with our corrections health director and their department and all of our corrections health members. Corrections health, a part of Multnomah County Public Health, provides services in our corrections facilities. That includes medical, behavioral health, and dental, vision, and even accessing medication. And I'll advocate for those resources and personnel to address the current needs in our facilities, because the needs today may be different than the needs that we had 5 or 10 years ago. And, looking at advocating for additional training for our deputies, building their skill sets so they also can more effectively and safely interact with those experiencing mental health and addiction. Some of those include ensuring that our deputies and support staff or non-sworn professional staff really have the skills to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental illness and substance use. I'll advocate for training on enhanced communication, de-escalation skills, trauma-informed approaches, and crisis intervention. And really just being able to also look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, and looking at learning experiences that connect with community. And so we're listening and understanding how best to engage our community and how best to put the services forth that are successful or that can help each community member and their specific unique needs. Looking at building those, again, those community-based partnerships, external instructors. For example, one of the areas that I worked when I was in the training unit, I organized a training with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and that was for our corrections deputies, and it included an interactive panel discussion with our deputies. So it encouraged our deputies to learn from community members with lived experience and experts in the field. And so I really am encouraged to incorporate these types of community-based services in our next training programs. And I've already advocated for some of the skills that I've already talked about to be included and budgeted for our next fiscal year. Looking at assessing our jail operations, again, this work is different than it has been in previous years. So advocating for additional resources, expanding or looking at expanding housing areas that are dedicated to helping people who require additional mental health care. So that looks, when we're looking at more of an individualized, person-centered approach. And we currently have a behavioral health team assigned to our Justice Center. So it's assigned at one facility, and this team works alongside our medical and mental health staff and provides services to those experiencing mental health and substance use challenges. They participate in linking people to appropriate levels of care within our community. So really looking at could we expand that team, and where would we expand that? Would it be our Inverness jail, or an additional expansion at the Justice Center? And partnering again with groups such as Volunteers of America to help with a more successful transition for people in custody into the community, and being more prepared for their long-term recovery needs. We already do some of this work, advocating for additional work with Southeast Works for job skills and placement, as well as working with our food service provider that also provides some job skills and job placement, which we're seeing success when people are released. So again, looking at how I, as sheriff, will support a more holistic approach that will meet each person's unique needs and try to, work on a positive path forward for each person in our custody.
Thank you, Nicole. This concludes our video voters guide and podcast interview of Nicole Morrisey O'Donnell, running for the office of Multnomah County Sheriff. Election day is Tuesday, May 17. Thank you for informing yourself about the candidates, and be sure to exercise your right to vote. Thank you for your interest.